Folks, I am pleased to have as my guest this evening 3 officials from the Culturama 51 committee in the persons of Mr. Swain Evelyn, who is the chairman for this year's festival, Ms. Rhonda Thompson, who is the chairperson of the marketing committee, and Mr. Jermaine Atherton, co-chairperson of the Mr. Cool contest, the swimwear contest, and the Miss Culture pageant show, as well as co-chair Miss Keisha Hobson, who is also the co-chair of the Mr. Cool contest, the swimwear contest, and the Miss Culture pageant show. Folks, good evening, and welcome to our Government at Work program.
Good evening.
Okay, we have quite a bit to discuss this evening, so I want to get straight into it. And I want to start this evening, Mr. Chairman, discussion, taking a look at registration for the various category of events for Culturama 51. Remind our listeners and viewers of the deadline for those registration dates and what they need to do to be registered for the event that they wish to participate in for Culturama 51.
All right, good evening, everybody. Registration, first of all, for obviously the Mr. Cool and the swimwear competition. We had so many registrants that we had to have an elimination this year, which is a really good start to Culturama 51. We are now, that show is now fully stocked, and we already have our contestants for that show. For the Miss Culture Queen show, we have 4 contestants, still hoping to get at least one more. As you mentioned, the deadlines. One of the things I want to clear up early is that we normally set deadlines, and over the years persons would realize that the deadlines many times would change because of the fact, depending on the response, when that deadline arrives, we might have to extend it to go over to maybe another month or whatever the case is, which is why we try to start early every year. So in some cases, the deadlines would be extended as need be. At the same time, if we do have enough registrants, then obviously, the deadlines would stand. Okay, just clearing that up for everyone. For the talented teen, we have a full house. We have a number of schools that have already registered, and we're still open for more registrants. Just FYI, but we do have quite a few schools that have already shown interest in that show. For the Calypso show, which is one of our big shows for the season, we all know. We're still open. Registration is still open. The deadline, of course, is coming up in the ending of May, and we will be extending that deadline just a bit more, just in case, to get a maximum amount of persons, to as many persons as possible. Let's put it that way. Registration this year for that show is not as robust as it normally is, but we do have already on board about 12, looking to get quite a bit more. We normally have 20 plus persons. So for anyone that's listening or watching and you want to register, please check the Culturama Secretariat. Some persons, if you're not in Nevis or you're not able to come directly, you can call and have us register you over the phone. So it's not an absolute must that you come to the office. We do help persons in terms of making it as easy as possible. What we started this year as well is doing some online registrations, but it's not for every show, for everything. We started it this year and we plan to advance it for the coming up years or whatever the case may be. For example, we started out doing the Food Fair Farm, was online. Is there any other one we did on that? All of them? Yes. We started out doing them online. Basically, it's a trial process this year. So, in anything you start new, there's always a little teething process. So, I encourage persons that if you did do your farm online, just do a follow-up call to be sure that everything is set from our end, because it is a new process, but we're going to make it a regular thing going forward.
Okay. Is there any fee involved in the registration for any of the events?
There's no registration fees for any of the events. Registration is free, so feel free to come and register for whatever you might want to take part in this year. And I encourage new persons to come. Many years we see the same persons. I encourage new persons to come. If there's any young man or young lady that wants to try it for the first time, do not be afraid to come, step forward and try it. Who knows? You might try it this year and you realize the best experience you've had and you want to continue. So don't be afraid to try. That's the thing I see. A lot of persons, they have the talent, they're out there, but just that nudge to come and actually register and try it, don't be afraid to try. You could come to the office, have a conversation with us. If you're not sure of the procedure and all that you may need to know, please come and have a conversation with us. We'll be willing to talk to you and encourage you to come and register and try it out.
Let me ask you something. How serious are the deadlines that you put in place? And I ask you a question because, like you alluded to earlier, on many occasions deadlines are set and they keep pushing back and pushing back and pushing back. So how serious are the deadlines? What if somebody come in? I mean, the Calypso thing was for April, but I noticed you're going May and maybe push it back further. How serious are the deadlines?
The deadlines are very serious, but our dedication to putting on the best show that we can for the general public is also serious. And sometimes we do have to push the deadlines back a bit in the interest of the show.
And I understand. I was just trying to get from you because last year we had a situation where the Calypso deadline was this date. And when it got passed, a few more got on and some of the guys started making some serious noise that the deadline has gone and they shouldn't be in and so forth. That's why I asked the question.
But in a case like that, I'm not sure what happened there last year, but we would only do such things if, like I said, the registration is very low.
Okay.
Or very slow.
Yeah,
Then we would
open up to get as much as possible.
Because you want to give the general public the best possible show and tents as well, which are very popular. That is why we would take that decision from time to time.
Understood. Now we already know what the slogan is and who the slogan winner is, but just in case there are those who may not be aware, could you repeat it one more time for them, or listening and viewing audience?
The slogan for this year is Division Pride, second to none. It's Culturama 51. And that was done by Mrs. Hunt, Onisha Hunt. If you're not, for those of you that might have missed it, it is on the Culturama page. We've made it public, and you will be hearing more about it going forward.
Okay, great. Now, have you decided as yet on the patron for this year's festival? Have you decided who that will be?
Even as of today, I tried to reach out to a potential patron, but I haven't been able to get in contact with this person. I've tried quite a few days now. I might have to reach to the actual home. But yes, we do have someone in mind, which will be released at a later date.
Okay. Fair enough. Now, before getting further, could you, for the general public, name the full committee for us?
Full committee?
The full committee, just to give them an idea who the other committee members are.
We have we start at the...
You start right here.
Right here. We have Chairman and Keisha Hobson for the Mr. Cool and Swimwear and the Queen Show. We have Miss Rhonda Thompson, Marketing. We have, for the Soca Monarch this year, we have Mr. Patrick Howell. He's doing the Soca Monarch this year. We have Mrs. Michelle Liebert Rollins, Poets in the Square. We have Anthony Gager. He is for Fringe Events. We have Leanne Brown. That is for the Talented Teen. We have Eureka Martin and Asie Hanley that is for the Arts and Crafts Culturama Food Fair. We have Miss Maweva Liburd for the Street Parade. We have Warren Moving for the Senior Calypso. We have Miss, who else do we have? It's quite a large team. Santonia Mills, that is for the Junior Calypso. I think that is the full. Oh, of course. We have
health and security.
Mr. Valentine. We have Police Valentine. We always have an officer on our team as a regular thing. Safety is very important to us, so there's always an officer on the committee, and we have Nurse Hanley as well, that is part of the safety team, that we always have medics on hand for the shows, just in case of any situations that may arise.
Okay, great. Feel free to jump in at any time on the thing. I mean, the questions may be specific to one person or the other, but feel free to jump in if you want to interact on that basic question that I would have asked.
Oh, sorry, and we have Dijano, and that is our legal part of the Cultural Committee. We always have that part as well.
Yes, okay, great. Now the Easter holidays are upon us, and right after that the focus starts shifting slowly but surely to the upcoming Culturama pre-activities, then the official activities. However, prior to that, you normally would have a press conference to introduce your sponsors, your patrons, some of your upcoming activities, etc. When is that likely to take place, and where?
That the location, we are working on a location as we speak, and well, quite a few locations, because we have quite a few events that would follow that. So we're looking at quite a few locations right now because we want to make some changes.
Yeah, but I was talking about the actual.
Yes. The actual media launch.
Right.
Right. A specific date has not been chosen as yet, but it will be in May. We will be having it in May.
Okay. Right. Have you decided as yet on the actual launch of the festival? The date, the time, and the place? But this is April finishing here, and before you went,
Yes.
we into Culturama. So.
We do have a place in mind, and that will be released in the near future.
In the near future.
It is a new place. It's not a place that we normally use. So we're trying to create a few. How do I put this? For this year, we want to create a few wows.
Okay.
Different from the norm.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now I want to move now to the marketing side of things, because with the slogan already decided and the Culturama jingle already out, it means that the marketing of the festival should be in high gear. So, Ms. Thompson, I am told that you are the person responsible for the marketing of this year's festival. So I'm happy that you're here with us this evening. Let me ask you this question. For the past few years, the organizers of the music festival in St. Kitts has used the official launch of Culturama to further market their music festival. But when the music festival is being held, very little marketing is being done during that time regarding the upcoming Culturama festival. I have spoken to Abu about it when he was here. I have spoken to the minister himself about it. Now I am talking to you about it. Are there any plans to use this year's music festival to further market the 51st anniversary of Culturama?
Firstly, thank you for having me today. Good evening to everyone listening. From what I've gathered, Culturama has been marketed through music festival before. This year, we're not going to change anything. We're going to continue and market Culturama through music festival, through different spots throughout the week, the 3-day festival.
Okay. Now, each year as well, sticking with marketing, we make a special effort to market the festival in North America, Canada, England, and the Virgin Islands, etc. But we hardly do any marketing in the neighboring islands such as Monkshot, St. Martin, and Guilla Station. These islands are right there where marketing is so much cheaper and so much easier to do. And so is the traveling to and from those islands. why not target those islands instead? And I'm not saying that we shouldn't market in the usual countries, but I think it'd be wise for us to target the neighboring islands for all of the reasons I have outlined above. I would like to hear your thoughts on my suggestion in terms of marketing to the neighboring islands.
So you made a statement that it's cheaper and so forth. Do you have any statistical data to align me with that statement so that I can be accurate in my my conversation with you? Because yes, it may seem like they're closer. It may seem like they're closer, but I have no information to back that up with. So it's a suggestion that can be looked into, but I have no solid ground to work from.
Okay, let me see if I could help you. In America, well, in terms of traveling, it's much cheaper because you're coming from America rather than coming just there from Monkstrap and neighboring islands. But secondly, the folks in the big islands will need to have that vacation set very, very early. It is very easy for persons to move from Monkstrap on a Friday afternoon, come to Nevis and fly back. They don't necessarily need vacation to do that. And same goes for Antigua and St. and so forth because of the close proximity of the islands. So that's what I mean when I say it's always easier and cheaper. And if you could get a couple thousand from around here, you're set. And if the small places, the cultural village could only hold so much, So that is along that route I am thinking.
I agree with you, but we also have to look at the fact that our neighboring islands are also celebrating their carnivals and festivals during that same time. So although it may seem great to target them, we still have to take into consideration that they too have their festivals around that same time. But I'm not shunning your suggestion because nothing is impossible. Everything is possible.
Okay, great. Now, I know that you and your committee will be marketing heavily on social media, but tell us a little about your marketing efforts as far as radio and newspaper and posters are concerned, because radio, in my view, is still the best form of advertisement. So tell us about that side of your marketing efforts.
Okay, radio for now, we do have some spots on Van Radio right now running. Social media, the social media handles, Instagram, Facebook, and we now have a WhatsApp channel. So those are activated and going since March. I joined the team late February, around there. So from early March, we've been active and pushing stuff on there, like the jingle. We did a teaser video. We have a few videos to release, but we're letting the Lent season pass, and then we go straight into high gear promoting Culturama.
Okay. What has the response been like thus far?
It's kind of slow, but we know Nevisions. When it's peak period, you will see the peak. People are just like, oh, what is Culturama having right now? For now, I can't do much because I'm still waiting on the Central Committee to release more information before I jump out ahead, or we jump out ahead and push something that is not ready to be released yet.
Okay, understood. Mr. Chairman, for the past few years, the major shows for Culturama has been streamlined. Will that be happening again this year, and will there be a cost attached?
That is in discussion right now. A decision has not yet been made. I know I've had a few Zoom meetings pertaining to those possibilities. So a decision has not been made as yet, but the general public will know in short order.
I remind you again that Culturama is just around the corner.
Yes. Short order.
Okay. Now I want to move now to sponsorship of the festival. Last year we had quite a number of sponsors coming on board. Yes, it was the 50th anniversary, so some businesses made a special effort to come on board. But how are things looking so far?
Things are looking really good so far in terms of sponsorship. We have received for the sponsorships that we have gone for thus far, most of them have been positive answers in terms of they're ready to go, some to continue, and we do have some new sponsors coming on board. As of even today, I had a company that had a meeting with me today, and they want to jump on and sponsor Culturama, and that is them coming to us. We didn't even reach out to them, so that shows that the interest is there. Persons are seeing the value of sponsoring Culturama.
Okay. I am happy to hear that, because there are several new businesses operating here on Nevis and St. Kitts, for that matter. Will you be approaching all in pursuit of additional sponsorship for the festival? And I say that because normally we tend to go towards the same persons each year for sponsorship. So I'm thinking of the committee widening the scope and taking in as much as they can.
Like I stated earlier, we have approached quite a few new sponsors. So you will be seeing some new sponsors on board this year, definitely. Most of them are they're eager to sponsor. So the review has been really good thus far, to be honest. The responses have been really positive. Persons are now approaching us, even companies that we may not have heard of are calling and asking questions. How do I sponsor a girl? How do I? And most sponsors seem to be interested in the ladies or the gentlemen of the show. You know, like a sponsor pointed out to me today, they know sponsoring a contestant, your name would be called throughout the festival numerous times. So they're looking at that as the best shot in terms of sponsorship to really make themselves be seen and heard.
I'm happy that you brought up that point, because one of the difficulties the committees over the years experience is with some sponsors. They get the name called and throughout the festival, and then you're running behind them all in September to get that sponsorship. You are now the new chief. Tell us how you intend to collect on that promise of sponsorship, rather than having to run into the same problem that has been going for years.
A part of the strategy is to, you see, with more sponsors, competition is good. Because the more sponsors we have, if you don't step forward early enough, you might not be able to get a girl and not be able to get, you know, what you normally sponsor, whatever the case is. So I think by ramping up and having a broader pool of sponsors, it puts the right pressure on the sponsors to step forward and make their presence felt, and showing the value of the sponsorship. I think over the years, certain things have been taken for granted, where a person that does not have these spots would see it. Like I said today, I had a meeting today, and this person, they were pointing out, you know, then we know if we get a girl, then we know our name is going to be called at the reveal, his name is going to be called at every function you have. Every time that young lady introduces herself, she's going to call her sponsor, or young gentleman, whatever the case is. So persons are now seeing the value of this sponsorship, and I think that's very important. It's not just to go to persons and say, hey, sponsor Culturama. We have to look at it realistically as what we can do for you as well after you sponsor us. This is what we're offering you, this is what you get. And that, I think, is very important in terms of looking for sponsorship.
Yes, I hear you, but I'm talking about the collection. Because they know what they're going to be getting and their name going to be calling, but I'm trying to ensure that they will pay their dues, as promised.
I'm going to put my neck on a block here and say, we do collect from our sponsors.
Okay.
The information you have, I'm not sure where that would have come from, but we do collect from our sponsors. Our sponsors do keep their word.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yes.
Happy to hear that. I want to turn your attention now on the program of activities themselves for Culturama 51. And I want to start with the pre-activities. Give us an idea of the events that is scheduled for this year's Culturama pre-activities. Now it's a little early in the game, but you should already have your list of pre-activities, at least. Not official, pre.
We have a list of official and pre.
Yeah, give me the pre first.
The pre first. Well, I'll tell you what is confirmed.
Okay.
Because there are a few things out there. Oh, and now that we're on that, I want to put a pre. Please, the procedure for having events during Culturama. You write a letter to the Secretariat requesting your event. To anything during Culturama season, we are responsible for it. You cannot just decide you're going to have a fete in the middle of Culturama. You will have to, even if when you go to the police, they're going to ask you, did you check with Culturama first? So I know it has happened, and I want to urge the public, please follow the correct procedures, because at the end of the day, if you start to promote an event that was not sanctioned by the Culturama committee, we don't want to be the bad guy and your event has to be shut down and not happen after you would have put out posters, etc., etc. So please, it's a very easy process. You write to the Secretariat. If you do not, persons would say they didn't get a response early, please just follow up with a call and we'll get to you and respond in a timely manner. In some cases, in most cases, the answer would be yes. They do have those special cases where, depending on the day that you might want, we have to look at our calendar as well. So the day might not be, we might not be able to give you that day, but in most cases we'll be able to find you a day that is suitable for your event.
Okay. It's important information.
Yes.
Go ahead with your pre-list now. Go ahead with your pre-list.
My pre-list. We do have, okay, for example, I have a list here. For the pre-activities, we have, let's start from 4th of July.
4th of July?
Yes.
That sounds a little late.
Sounds late to you?
The 2nd. The 2nd of July.
The 2nd of July?
The fringe event.
No, that's the 12th.
Oh.
That's the 12th of July.
Go ahead.
That's why I said the 4th. Like I said, we do have a few things that are still hanging that we have to lock in and lock down before we release them. But yeah, like she said, there's for those of you that don't know, there's a new event this year. It's a heat wave. I don't want to call it a wet fete. It does have elements of the wet fete, but I don't want to say a heat wave wet fete. Okay, it's a heat wave fete.
Okay.
And that is Saturday, July 12th.
That's
Okay.
our first pre-event?
Yes, this is being put on by a private promoter.
Okay.
Okay, just for the public to know. We don't have many events, like I said, that is prior to Culturama. Most persons seem to want to do their events during Culturama, and this is the next plea. Please understand that Culturama is only a little window of about 2 weeks. There's only so many days that's involved in those 2 weeks. And we do have our staple shows to do in those 2 weeks. So most persons come and they want a Saturday or a Sunday. Those days are filled, unfortunately. And we all know the big weekend, that is the Saturday, the food fair, wet fete, the Sunday, the Queen show, and the Monday. There's not any space there to be filled with another event at this point. Unless if it's something that is in the day, let us say the Sunday, in the daytime, we do not have a problem, but the Sunday night we know is already taken for the Miss Culturama Queen show. Okay, so most persons want to be within that window, and why I say we have a few things hanging is most persons want to be in that window, and we're trying to convince them to the weeks leading up to Culturama as well. They are there, and you would be on the calendar still, which would be a pre-event. So we're trying to fill the pre-event sections rather than everyone trying to cluster up into that prime area.
Understood.
Where there's not, unfortunately, it's not the Culturama committee, but you know, those areas are filled. Okay.
I'm still waiting for the pre-activities.
Yeah, I'm only talking about the confirmed pre-activity. The one on the 12th
Yes.
of July is confirmed.
Okay.
Okay, that's why I talk about that. All the other activities After that is all Culturama.
The official program.
Official programs, right. And of course on the 26th, I'm going to say we have Tropics on the 26th of July. That's the Tropics. So we have Tropics in Culturama again this year, which is a plus. I know many persons look forward to that. That is there. We'll be opening the village. The opening of the village and the National Bank Soccer Monarch semi-finals will be on the July 19th. So we're opening the village on the 19th of July.
19th of July.
Of July. Sorry to be tracking backwards. We're going to have a bar crawl on the 12th of July as well. So it's going to be the bar crawl, and after the bar crawl finishes, you have the heat wave fete in the village after. So I'm encouraging persons, the bar crawl, it doesn't cost anything to come on the bar crawl. It is loads of fun, trust me. We had it last year, a few persons experienced it, and they never thought it was that exciting. I would encourage persons to come on out. We have vehicles to take us around the island to the different bars, etc., etc., and come out and have some fun. It's Culturama, you know.
Now, I'll get back to the program of activities, but last year there was a nice build-up to the pre-activities where the steel bands in Nevis perform at the MGR Park on Pinnis Beach at least once or twice per month as part of the build-up. I thought that was a very brilliant idea. Will we be seeing a similar thing happening this year?
That is the plan, yes. I'm just waiting for the dates to be confirmed as to when we'll be doing them, but that is the plan. And we will be having our panorama this year, of course.
Yes, we'll get back to the main things. Now, the Calypso tents normally gets off the ground very early as well, but we haven't heard any mention of that band rehearsal or which band for that matter will be accompanying the Calypso in this year. So, could you shed some light on that for us?
Okay. Like I said, there's a reason why you haven't heard certain things as yet. I can tell you by the end of this month, you'll be starting to hear so many things that you'll be surprised that they're coming at you fast. Okay? We're building the momentum, just like Rhonda said. We did have a bit of a late start, so we're going to be playing catch up quite fast to build up the momentum. Right? Last year, a lot of things happened last year because we all have to understand it was the 50th anniversary, so we really went out and did a grand hoorah for last year, you know. So we were celebrating the 50th anniversary. This year will be it's not like we're going to drop the ball this year. It's going to be just as exciting. Okay, so don't lose sight of and compare. Last year we might have had a lot of new events that we created just for the 50th anniversary. Alright? That does not mean this year that we'll be doing like the awards and ceremony and stuff like that. That was a special time. Okay, so of course those things, we're not going to have the same thing this year. But we will be having a few new things this year that would be exciting as well.
Okay. We'll get to those new ones a little later. Now tell me about the official program. Take it from the actual opening day of Culturama, which is totally different to the opening from the booths. From the opening of Culturama, go back to last lap and choose.
Opening Culturama is going to be on Thursday, 24th.
Where would that be?
That location, Rhonda is laughing because she knows. That location will be announced. I have it here to be announced.
Okay.
Okay?
It will not be the same as...
It will not be the same.
Okay.
So just have a little faith in us.
It will be a different location.
It will be a different location.
Okay.
And I think a location that is going to create excitement as well.
I hear you. That's good.
Yes.
That's good. Continue on.
Oh, sorry, yes. Opening of Culturama 24th, and then, like I said, Saturday, the 26th, that's Tropics and the Handley's Road Sports Club extravaganza at the Charlestown.
Too fast. There's nothing on the 25th.
Not as yet.
Not as yet.
Not as yet, no. No, and that's one of the things that we do have areas that need to be filled. But I will be honest, some promoters don't want to be too close to other events. So Tropics is the Saturday. Most person would not want to do a grand event the Friday because they know the Tropics crowd. And I want us to reach a point where we shouldn't be afraid or scared to do something that is not the norm, because persons want to fete, they want to party, and they want options. Okay, so I'm pleading to the private promoters to create events. We, Culturama, of course, we create events, but we cannot do all. So I'm pleading for them to come on board with your ideas. It doesn't have to be a big, large fete. We could use smaller venues and have different activities, because persons want to party, they want to fete, they just need the opportunity and, to have to go out and, as young folks would say, live. Okay. All right. On the 27th now, we have the Mr. and Miss Swimmy and Mr. Cool at the Nevis Cultural Complex. Alright, the 28th is when we start a lot of persons' favorite, the Poets in the Square. I know last year we had some good crowds last year for the Poets in the Square. A lot of persons took part. I don't know if many persons would have experienced it, but I encourage you to go and support the Poets in the Square. It is something, it's a really, should I say, educational event. It's a good event. It's something different. It's not something you see every day, and it's an opportunity for persons with the talent of poetry and stuff like that to come, and you could literally just go there, register, and do your poem. It doesn't take a whole lot. It's not something you have to practice for, and So I encourage persons to go there. It's a good event. It's a day event, because persons who say we don't have a lot of day events, it is a day event. So everything is not in the night or afternoon. You take your lunch break at work, take a stroll over by the Poets in the Square. I know last year I think a few ministers even took part in the Poets in the Square. So take a pass, and so that starts on Monday the 28th. That's the Poets in the Square, and the Bunny Panorama Contest is going to be at the Nevis Central Complex. So that's Poets in the Square in the day and the Panorama in the night. Okay, that's the 28th, and the Poets in the Square runs for that whole week. We go down from the 28th. We have, so it's every day. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. That whole week, every day is Poets in the Square. So if you don't go Monday, you can go Tuesday, you can go Thursday. You have a whole week, so don't miss it and say you had a whole week. You should be able to hit, and I will guarantee if you go for one day, you'll probably be back. Okay, so I am promoting that event. Tuesday the 29th, we have Republic Bank Mr. and Mrs. Talented Teen at the Nevis Cultural Complex. On Wednesday 30th, we have Rhythm Dance Ensemble. That's going to be at NEPAC. On Thursday, you have the National Bank Soca Monarch Finals at the Cultural Village. We have Friday, August 1st, we have the TDC Kaiso Senior Kaiso Finals at the Nevis Cultural Complex. Then we have Saturday, the 2nd, it's the Arts and Craft Food Fair and the 5-in-1 Wet Fete. And I repeat that, the 5-in-1 Wet Fete.
5-in-1 Wet Fete.
5-in-1 Wet Fete.
Is that Wazim or the Culturama committee is taking over that?
That is Wazim.
That in Wazim, okay. So he's later this year?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. As you know, last year, we did not have a 5-in-1 last year, but we're having one this year. And it's going to be right in the heart of Culturama. So come out and enjoy a Wet Fete for the Wet Fete fans. Alright, then we have the Sunday, August 3rd, the Bank of Nevis Limited Miss Culture Queen Pageant at the Nevis Cultural Complex. Then we have Monday, Emancipation Juve Jump Up. Okay? Last year, we rallied for, normally we know on Juve morning, 12 o'clock, it shuts down. Last year, and I want to thank the police for cooperating with us last year, where Juve was finished at 12, but we were allowed to have bands at the Charlestown waterfront down until 4 o'clock. Stationary. So we had bands and DJs. So after Juve and you want to go down there, you want to go there and hang out or whatever the case is, that option was there. And we will be pushing for that to be there again this year. Alright, so Charleston would not just shut down at 12 o'clock like it normally happens. And then we have Tuesday, Culturama 51 Grand Street Parade and last lap. Okay, and that will bring our program to a closure for now.
Okay, I noticed quite a few activities were left off the list here, but we'll talk about them when we come back. Folks, you're listening to Government at Work. My guest this evening is 3 top officials from the Nevis Culturama Committee for Culturama 51. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we shall continue with our discussions here on Government at Work.
So right, St. Thomas is right, St. James is put together and build your land. Right, St. George's and St. Paul's together with St. John's. This land is enough for all to share. No reason to leave and go nowhere. Foreigners can come here from America and England. There is something mighty sweet about my land. And if the foreigners who live here can insist that it's here they're from, then I swear I'll never leave my native land. One people, one country.
Mr. Chairman, like I said, there has been some, well, I shouldn't say omission, because you said they haven't been confirmed as yet, but I noticed I am not hearing of the Herbert's Beats and the drag race and stuff like that. So are you, is there an intention to meet with these persons, or you're waiting for them to approach you, or when are you going to know about these private functions that normally occur?
It's yes to both of your questions. We have been calling some persons, reaching out to them, but what we have here is what is confirmed for now.
Understood.
Yes, so in the near, like I said, in the near future, this list will be updated.
Yes.
Okay, and I know of a few things that will be added.
Yes.
It's just for confirmation and we move forward.
Understood. Now, I had the Minister of Culture here a few weeks ago, and he mentioned, like you did, that all of the participants for the Mr. Cool, the swimwear was already on board, but the Miss Culture Pageant Committee was still searching for a couple more contestants. This evening you mentioned you have 4 and you're looking for 1. My question is for Miss Hobson and Mr. Atherton is, why do you think why is it so difficult to find 5 girls to participate in the Queen Show? What are you experiencing in your challenges to get contestants for this year, Miss Pageant, Pageant for the Queen Show Pageant?
Well, to be honest, after our anniversary year, historically it's always kind of hard to get girls to go in for the Queen Show. And I can attest from what I have been experiencing when I go and approach young ladies. Some of them say, maybe next year, or next year for sure, me don't want to go in after anniversary, we want to go when it start to pick back up with the hype. But the truth and in fact is that whether it's an anniversary year, whether it's a year after the anniversary, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, you'll be making history, you'll go down in history. At the end of the day, you want to be a contributor of our society and take up space and have a platform. And I think that it's naturally a good thing for all of our young ladies. They get a good exposure to public speaking. There's so much that they can learn and take away from going in for these pageants. I myself did the Mr. Cool contest back in 2013, and I honestly did it just as a promise to myself And I went in and I didn't really expect to take with such a beautiful experience. I would say that it's something that I probably would do again. And that's something that I always tell all of the participants, that you'll be surprised to know the takeaway and the life experiences and the things that you experience over that couple of months. And so I would urge every person who is interested in going in for the show. Sometimes you're not interested, but you have an inkling that you would like to do it, try it. You will be so surprised that you come out as a better person. Your viewpoint will be changed.
Right.
I also think that a factor would be most of the ladies or the young ladies in Nevis, they're very shy. They don't have the experience. So we want to bring back the village shows and the Miss Teen, to prepare them for the actual big show. So that's another factor.
Okay. Now, what is your cutoff point to finalize? Well, these are who participating. Like you have 4 now. When is the deadline to get that 5th, or to say, well, we can't find the 5th and go forward? Or when is your cutoff point?
Well, we're working with 4 girls currently. The contract has not been signed, so we are still encouraging people to apply and to join this wonderful show. So to us, we still have registration open until we actually finalize the contracts and everybody is signed. So we still have hope. We have a few more weeks, and we hope 1 or 2 more females, come on board and join us.
And let's hope they're listening to this program and they will know that you're making that clarion call to become that 5th contestant. It's always nice when you have 5 or more.
Well, I just was going to say the same thing, but I mean, we've had times where there have been 4 contestants and the show has been remarkable. So if we have to move forward with the 4 contestants, we as the co-chairs will definitely make the show something of a high standard.
Sounds good. I'd like to hear that. Now tell us a little about the appearances for this year's Miss Pageant show. How many appearances will the girls be making, and what type of appearances?
Okay, so for the Miss Culture Queen, we are having 5 segments. We are having the interview segment, so this is actually our first judged segment. Normally we will have the interview segment the last judge segment, but we're changing things around this year. Then that will be followed by the ambassadorial speech. We'll have a swimwear segment, the performing talent, evening wear, and then we crown the winner.
So you'll have a swimwear segment even though you have a swimwear contest?
Of course.
Okay. Just checking.
I personally think that at the end of the day, in any international show, there is a swimsuit competition for the Queen Show, and that's an aspect that we should definitely keep inside of our Queen Show.
Okay, tell us a little about the Mr. Cool.
Okay, so for the Mr. Cool contest and the Miss Culture Swimwear Pageant, there will be 4 judged appearances, where for the Miss Culture Swimwear Pageant, we will have the identical swimwear, 1-piece, 2-piece, and a creative swimwear. Then for the Mr. Cool contest, we would have the interview, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that our young men have the intellect and they will be able to speak well at the end of the day. And then we have the beach wear, the performing talent, and the GQ wear.
Sounds good. Where would this year's opening ceremony be held? And what would this ceremony entails?
I think that he previously said that this will be announced later on.
Yeah, but what would it entail?
Well, of course, you know that our contestants would make an appearance, because those are the focal points of the Culturama. But
the opening ceremony normally have a kind of cultural presence.
Well, of course, we would not eliminate the cultural presence. It is Nevis Culturama, so we would not eliminate that.
But
the presentation would just be a little bit
A
different.
little bit different. I see
Yes.
you don't want to reveal it at this point. I could see. Now the Juve Morning Jam session, we had this discussion last year with Abonati when he was here, has gotten too large for the heart of Charleston. And last year there was serious concerns raised about that. Some have suggested that both Juve and Last Lap Troops and Bands Parade should end at the Malcolm Gishard Park. What's your take on that suggestion?
I am taken aback that you think that Juve Morning has now gotten too large for Charlestown, because I definitely don't think it's gotten too large for Charlestown. I don't know what Juve Morning.
You walk through town on Charlestown on Juve Morning?
Every year, of course. I'm actually in charge of street activities, so
And
I'm telling you.
The jam up session you have in town?
No, the jam up session normally comes from, and let me clear this up. Town, normally, the jam up session, and this is something that we've been struggling with for years, is that certain areas in town, and that's something that we're really going to step on this year, because safety is very important. Nobody cares until something happens. A lot of the congestion in town is done by the placement of some of the vendors. There are certain areas in town where vendors should not be. And we all know, when the bands pass, you can see the congestion and the danger as well, because, you know, God forbid one of those speakers fall off or something like that. I mean, so we had a plan in place last year. Certain things were not, just like any changes, there's a little teething process, but I think after the assessment of last year, this year we are fully prepared to make a change in terms of the safety issues in town. There are certain areas where I think we all can see that cannot have vendors because of the issue of the trucks passing, etc., etc. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're not going to chase the vendors away. We're just going to put placement for where persons can and cannot be.
I'm happy you brought up that topic, because one of the difficulties the previous committee had is placing these vendors. Sometimes, and it happened quite a few times, with persons are breaking the rule.
Right.
Right? So how are you going to deal with that situation? Yes, you're going to have your placement where you should go and where you shouldn't go, but there are those who break the rule, like I say, and you come there the next morning and you see 5 booths where they shouldn't be at all.
Yeah, and I'm going to let the public know now, if they are where they should not be, they will be removed. So I'm urging persons, please work with us so we can work with you, because at the end of the day, we do not want to have to remove anybody's stuff. We do not. So please don't put us in a position where we have to, for the safety of everyone. So I would appreciate the cooperation of the vendors. We're willing to cooperate with you fully, but if you're going to break the rules and do what you know you should not be doing, we would have to take steps necessary to safeguard the revelers.
And you feel like the shifting of the booths will reduce the...
Yes, there are certain areas where I'm sure in your mind you could come up with an area quickly where you know that it's not the safest spot for vendors to be.
I agree with you.
I mean,
it gets real tight.
It's amazing a person even think about putting to go there to vend, because you have to know that it's not a good spot. And let's be realistic. If I'm going to buy a beer from you, I'm going to buy a beer from you. If you're there, if you're 20 meters down the road, it's not going to be a big difference. And I mean, we need to be realistic.
Well, with the realistic thing about it now, unfortunately, that vendoring has come such a huge business now. And whereas you only had 10 years ago, you now have 100 different vendors.
Right.
And everybody fighting for that best spot, so to speak, as want to be as close as possible. And that's the difficulties that you're experiencing. What you will have to do is something like what you're saying. You have to be steadfast in your decision making.
Yes.
And, you know, otherwise you will get out of hand and you
And
again.
the police will be working with us. We've had discussions about this in our central committee meeting, and the police will be working with us. Hopefully, like I said, we wouldn't need to exercise any of those things that we will have in place to have to remove personal stuff. Now, like I said, we do not want to have to remove anybody's tent, etc., etc. So please, we're not going to put you in that position. You have the option of putting us in that bad position of having to remove you. So let us please not go down that road where we have to, because if we have to, we will do it.
Let's address the fees for a little bit, because we haven't touched that yet. The cost of the shows for this year, the cost of vendoring. Shed some light on that.
We are not increasing any costs this year. That is not the plan. So just FYI for everybody to know. There was a minor increase last year. Like I said, it was a big celebration last year, Golden Jubilee, but the prices are not going to be increasing this year.
Okay, so the prices this year are going to be the same as last year?
Yes.
Okay. You remember what those prices were?
Off the top of my head, no. I remember most of the shows were like $50, like Queen show, were like $50.
What about the vendoring that we were just speaking about? What sort of fee do the vendors need to pay, especially on the street?
Well, the vendoring, there's no set. Okay, there's set fees, but it goes with category. Depends on what you are doing.
Size and so forth.
If you're only selling nuts,
Yes.
your price is different to the person that's
Yes,
doing a full
yes.
tent with. So that would determine, once you come to the secretariat to explain to us what you're doing, and the fee would be given accordingly.
How soon are they allowed to set up their tents? And I'll tell you why I ask that, because the Jubilee morning is on Monday, but Saturday you see vendors start putting up their stuff.
The plan is to have the areas already marked and designated, so you wouldn't know. When you come to the office, you would, after registering and all of that and paying, then you wouldn't know where your area would be. So it's not just go there and set up there or over here or whatever the case is. Okay?
All right. Now, I want to speak to you now about prizes for this year's winners, because that is very crucial to registration and participation, as you are aware. So tell us about the prizes that are on offer for the winners of the various competitions this year. The Calypso show, the Queen show, you know, those troops and banter, road match.
The prizes as well, last year, as we know, prices were increased last year. You smile.
I'm
Remember,
listening.
we gave a little extra last year for the prizes. We are in discussions right now in terms of the adjustments that we will need to make. There won't be any drastic adjustments, but understand that last year, like I said, the Golden Jubilee, we did go up on the prices. And let's be fair, when you really look at it, if you look at the crowds that we would have had last year, in terms and in comparison to the crowds that we'll have this year, there's not going to be a comparison. We know Nevis, as I said, went down a few inches last year because the amount of persons we had on island last year. So you have to look at that and factor it into the factor of prizes. Okay? So we gave some extras last year for prizes. This year we are in discussions as to where do we meet in terms of prizes for this year.
Well, what you had last year was a vehicle being given to the king.
Calypso,
But
yes.
the cash price remained the same as it was all the years.
So I don't want to say there won't be a vehicle this year, but
No, I understand.
I'm pretty sure, I don't think there'll be a vehicle this year.
I hear you.
Like I said, we did go above and beyond for last year for the big celebration. This year, I mean, I'm not saying it can't happen, but it would be a bit different this year.
I understand.
Okay, we cannot compare Culturama 51 to Culturama 50, our Golden Jubilee.
I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
I understand but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try. You should still try.
Well, we are looking at, I mean, prices for everything have gone up, of course. So we are considering all of that into our decisions that we're making.
Okay. So you're not in a position to tell us about the prices, not the extras. I'm talking about the regular prices.
The regular prizes? No, we're looking at every show right now and every prize to see where do we meet in the middle as to...
Some prices can't move, you know. They could only go up.
Yeah,
Listening to you, so you're thinking of bringing down some prices.
No, we're not going to bring down anything. Like I said, some prices were increased last year just for the Golden Jubilee. So we are tasked with looking at where do we meet in terms of if it was 10 and we made it 15 last year. Do we go back to 10 or do we meet in the middle? If you understand, that's the kind of the discussion that we are having.
I understand that. That's why I told you the prices were the same for the last 5 years. It didn't go up.
Prices went up last year.
Not because prices for Calypsonian.
Not Calypsonian, but remember we have other shows.
Yes, well, that's why.
I know your heart is with Calypso, but we do have other shows.
Yes. Now, last year, and you mentioned it earlier, we had some new initiative introduced, like the homecoming event and cultural awards and gala. What new initiatives could we expect to see this year? You may not have the same, because like what was for the 50, but you did mention a little earlier you're thinking of some new things.
Yeah, we are looking at, as you can see, you see new faces on the committee. It's a new committee. Some persons were there from last year, a few, but we are looking at making changes, and I do have to say this so persons understand that not because you see Mr. Evelyn is now in charge of the Culturama committee that everything is going to change like that and everything is going to be, fixed.
I know. I hear you.
Okay? Culturama is a large event and it takes time for adjustments to be made. Certain things, it takes time and planning. So we are looking at adjusting things, fixing things, making things better, but understand that it will take time, not a snap of a finger. Because we have to first assess and then plan and then start to put things in place as we go forward.
True, understand. But remember, you don't have much time right there. I keep reminding you of that because Culturama is just around the corner. There's quite a few things that is still to be done.
Yes, still to be done.
Right. Now, for the past 10 years or more, and I'm not blaming you for this because this has nothing to do with you, we haven't had a prize-giving ceremony. We haven't seen any distribution of gifts to the various winners, no trips abroad, no weekends for two, no dinner for two, lunch, breakfast, nothing. Which used to serve as a great motivator for the competitors. Why not we introduce those as a new chair and new marketing person for Culturama 51? Is that something you'll be willing to look at?
Like I said,
don't want to back you in a corner.
No, you're not backing in a corner. Like I said, we have to
willing.
first assess why this was done, how it was done, if we need to make changes, and how do we address it. The prize giving, I can assure the public, I've been on the Culturama committee for quite a few years, let's put it that way. And I know that prizes are given every year. It's just that we don't have an event to give the prizes, but prizes are given every single year. Persons get food vouchers. There are many prizes that I know of that persons will come to the office and collect their prizes. It's just not done on a public forum, and that is what has been happening. So it's not that the prizes are not there. They do get their prizes. It is just they just don't create an event of prize giving.
And here,
okay.
I didn't get any.
So you didn't get any prizes?
Well, apart from the TDC thing that you get, now TDC give you a voucher.
You see,
that's it.
Well, you see, we're back to your love now, which is Calypso. We do have other shows besides Calypso.
I agree with you. I agree with you. What I was
I can assure you that Calypso.
All the persons get.
Yeah, for different shows, we do have, and that's the thing, we have different sponsors. Not every sponsor, your Calypso show, yes, that's TDC or whatever. Other shows have different sponsors, and some do give kind as well as cash and different prizes. So it's not specific to your show only. But yeah.
This was a general question, really.
Yeah, it's
But
a
I have
general.
a question. So do you feel that prize giving ceremony is instrumental for participants?
It is. It's a serious motivator.
Okay.
And what we used to have in the years gone by, and I had this discussion with Abu before, you guys, is that we used to have hotels giving a weekend for two and dinner for two. We used to have trips going to the king, queen, first one up, second up, everybody. But we haven't seen anything like those for years. We haven't even had, like I say, a prize giving ceremony, which used to bring down the curtains and the festival itself, you know. What you have now is that you go to the office and collect whatever is yours. And
So did you get a reason as to why there hasn't been one?
yes, I did.
Oh, you got a reason?
Yes.
You care to expound?
And I will not. because
I'm not going to back you.
it's a vexing topic.
Okay.
You didn't back me in a corner, so I'm not going to back you in a corner.
Yes, I got the reason. And a matter of fact, I was the marketing officer in 2001 for Culturama, the cultural secretariat. And since I left, I'm not blowing my hand, but when I was in marketing, I went to St. Kitts. I got 3 generators, 3 trucks, trip to England for King and Queen, trip to New York City, first one. I mean, a whole heap of things I got. And I haven't seen it done since.
You haven't seen
I
it done
haven't been
since.
here.
But can we accept that things have changed a lot?
It should change for the better, because you know how much more businesses.
Yes,
Well,
but that
I
doesn't mean
think-
you're willing to give as much or they're in a position to.
I think those still,
Ah,
those things
nobody
still,
has approach.
those things still happen. It's just that, like I said, you know what you did and what you got. But other persons would have done marketing and gotten stuff as well. It's just that
I
because
agree.
there's no praise giving, you might not know.
Okay.
You understand? Because I personally know of quite a few prizes that were given. I know Rams, for example, was a big contributor of liquor and stuff like that, and gift vouchers, food vouchers. I know for soca for sure, the guys got food vouchers and quite a few bottles of Hennessy and
Let
rum
me
and
ask you
all
a
that
different
type
question.
of thing.
Let me ask you a different
You know, so,
question. You outline a number of things that you know soca get. Why not the Calypsonian?
Well, remember the soca didn't get a car either. The Calypsonian got a car, so so we can't compare. If you're gonna compare, the soca guys could say, how come we don't get a Jeep?
Yeah, but I wasn't talking about the main prices. I was talking about approaching
I understand.
businesses
I understand what you're
to
saying.
make a contribution
But
to the
it
festival.
has been done. Like I said, we had a lot of cases of rum and different things from Rams. I know for sure that was shared out to contestants.
Okay, all right. I want to go back to a couple of things, just for clarification. So in terms of the bans for the Calypsonians, that will be announced at a little later date. You haven't decided on that yet?
Mr. Movin, I know, is in contact with the band. He's already in contact with them. I spoke to him maybe a week and a half ago because I need to get, like you have the dates
Yes.
for these. That committee normally would choose the dates or whatever. So asking him for that information, and I know that they have been meeting and they're putting together the dates, etc., to give to the secretariat.
Okay. And the private functions, you have plans to approach all these people, the Herbert Beach and
Yes. The drag race and all that.
what's
Yes,
his name, the Empire, my good friend Eric who handles the
Yeah.
Empire.
That's there already.
It's there.
Yeah,
Okay.
they already reached out to us and they. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good to know. Well, I want to go around the table now and ask everybody pretty much the same question, and I want to start with Miss. Let me start with Rhonda. You're now the new marketing person for Culturama 51. Tell us how you feel about that position, what you would like to do as the marketing person for Culturama 51. Speak to us about your intentions for Culturama 51 and your marketing efforts.
Well, what I would like to do, I'm already doing it.
Tell us, because we don't know.
As I said, I'm waiting for the Lent season to bypass. Then you'll see a stream of things that I would have started. For example, to match the slogan, we have started a Nevision Pride series, just some short clips to highlight things that make us Nevision and make us have that prideful feeling of being a Nevision. So we're doing that. Hopefully with more discussions we can have more highlights into things, filling those gaps of dates that are not booked out as yet. That would enhance the festival a bit more. How I feel about it, I'm pretty confident in what I'm doing. I believe in myself, so I think I can deliver.
Okay, well, Mr. Atherton, you're the co-chair of the Mr. Cool and the Swimwear and the Queen Pageant. Is your first time doing this?
Yeah, well, this is my first time as being the co-chair. However, I made my debut back in 2009 on the senior pageant committee, back when Garrett Skeet was the chairperson.
Remember that.
And I certainly think with my vast knowledge of planning, because you know previously I was the wedding coordinator at the Four Seasons, also a local events planner there as well. I think that with my knowledge, I will be able to bring something good and a more, how may I say it, more structured program to the shows, and so we will be able to have everything in line and work. Both me and Keisha, we've worked well with each other because we both work hand in hand naturally at work. She is the wedding sales specialist at the Four Seasons, and I was previously the wedding coordinator, so we worked well with each other, and we thought that we will be a dynamic duo.
I hear you. Let me ask you something. For the contestant, well, you only have 4 for now. What about chaperones?
Well, of course, as of right now, from the contestants that we have, I know that they're already equipped with chaperones. Every single contestant that we have on board is already equipped with a chaperone. We've had meetings with them already, and so the engine is already started. As Ms. Thompson said, after the length and the contracts are fine and make it definite, then you'll see more of the contestants. So we do look forward to everyone coming out, supporting our contestants, your help in creating the atmosphere where they are confident to come out and face you. Because I know it took me a while back when I went in for the show to have the confidence to meet and greet and see everybody. But it's definitely something that we definitely need your support with. Oh, of course, we've already had our plans in regards to the reveal. I think that what we have already in the works will be something that will be memorable.
Okay, you spoke a little earlier of structuring, bringing better structure to the Queen's and stuff like that. One of the complaints that persons have over the years is the length of time that the Queen show takes. You know, how are you going to go about ensuring that at least this year the Queen should finish by midnight?
Well, I am not going to guarantee you that. However, both myself and Keisha will put our stamp of approval and making timing an integral part of getting us out of the complex and down to the village, partying with the winner. So I know from my experience, time is of essence, and I feel like time is a thing that I love. Even if I'm going to be going out, I am going out for 8, 7:45 I'm ready. So hopefully my thoughts on timing and also Keisha's time and timing and would work out, and then we'll be working on having all of our shows completed by midnight.
Okay, I hear you. Miss Hobson, this is your first time doing this. I'm going to give you the headphone here, please. Is this your first time Yes, is this your first time doing this type of show?
Not really. I was the chairperson for Miss Gingerama back in 2018. That's when Nayela became the queen.
Yes.
I've been on several committees, and I've also been chaperones. Been a chaperone before. So pageantry is within me. Also, I've been a calypsonian, so Culturama is within me. So it's definitely nothing new to me.
Nothing new to you.
No.
Okay. But you not only have the Queen Show, you have the swimwear, you have the Mr. Cool. How challenging is that to have all three? The two of you.
Well,
same question to both of you.
For now it's going pretty good. We have a good bunch of contestants, all of the participants. They're amazing, they're talented, they're articulate. So we can guarantee a high quality show for sure. So I think that makes our job a little bit more easier.
Okay. Mr. Atherton seems to think that the two of you work very well together, and as a result
That's a
of
fact.
that, we are going to have a high level produced Queen Show.
Yes.
You share that view?
Yes, that is a fact.
Of course, we do share the same thought point of that.
Okay. Wish both of you well.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this is your first time as chairman of the festival. Yes, you've been around doing other parts of the committee, but the position of chair is a heavy responsibility. And tell me how you feel about that. I mean, how do you feel about it, being the chairperson of the festival for the first time?
How do I feel about it? Well, I am excited about it, to be honest. When German said about he was around since 2007,
2009.
2009, I suddenly realized that I was part of Mr. Skeet's team as well.
Yeah, I thought you didn't remember.
I didn't even know that I've been around Culturama for that long. It's kind of scary. We're getting old. But yeah, I've been around numerous different parts of Culturama for quite some time, and now as this new role, with experience of all the years watching, seeing the successes, the mishaps, the good and the bad, I think I'm in a position now where I should be able to step into the role and make my presence felt and make a good change and to upkeep the Culturama standard that we have here in Nevis and to move things forward in a positive light.
Okay. The Culturama committee teamed up with the Mango Fest last year, which was a very big thing. Will you be joining forces again this year?
It's going to be an even bigger thing this year.
Really? Tell us how.
I'll give you that hint.
Tell us how.
It's going
Okay, let me ask you this question. What role will the Culturama committee be playing this time, apart from the Mango Fest?
Well, I read an email today from the tourism section and of course the Mango Fest committee where we asked to collaborate on something and they are more than willing to collaborate with us in terms of this is something that we're planning to do different, whereas I don't want to let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, you're holding back. We could tell that you're holding back.
Yeah, I want, because this, no.
You're holding back all night.
I read this email today and I actually got excited when I read it. I said, okay, this is going to be something that's different. Why I said different, I know that we would have worked together last year, but this is something where we're taking something from Culturama and taking it to the Mango Fest. That's all I'm going to say.
Mango Fest.
Yeah, to join, to add to enhance the Mango Fest. Okay?
Sounds good, but you don't want to reveal.
No, because then what's the fun of revealing it now?
Culturama is around the corner.
It's around the corner, but the corner it's a big corner. It's not a sharp corner.
Okay.
Okay?
Now, what would make Mr. Evelyn satisfied that Culturama 51 was a success?
What will make it
What will make
me
you,
satisfied?
as chief person, satisfied that Culturama 51 was a success?
There's quite a few things that would make me satisfied, and it starts from being the chairperson. I have to look at all areas. I I can't just look at one or two areas, but for example, the show starting on time. If that happens, I'm more than happy. You know, if marketing gets, if there's any plus within marketing where we've covered ground that we have not covered before, anything that advances forward for 51, I will be more than happy for, because that is the goal of progress. And like I said before, it won't be rapid progress. Sometimes you might wonder, I'm sure the public might wonder, what are they doing? But just give us a chance and you will see, oh, okay, that's what they were working on. Because even last year we made some changes in, for example, the route for the parade. Persons would have said they did not like it. Hold on. Since then though, I've had a lot, surprisingly, a lot of persons, even who were, persons would have tackled me publicly. Stupidness, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. I've heard them say, boy, it wasn't bad at all. You know? And that's the thing with change in general. Persons don't like change. There's always that resistance at first. But I encourage persons, keep an open mind. Sometimes it's not the way you would see it or how you think it would be best, but keep an open mind, let it unfold. And I'm not going to say that everything we do is going to be great and it's going to be the best, but let us try. If it fails, we'll do something different or whatever the case is, but keep an open mind that, oh, we normally do this way. That doesn't mean it has to be done that way every year and every time. That's what makes it boring, let's put it that way. If you're going to go and do the same thing every year, what's the point? You have to change it, because after a while persons get accustomed to that and there's no more. I'm a person, I like change. I get bored easily. So if I come and see something twice and 3 times, I don't want to see that again. If you understand what I mean. So we will be trying things. Give us a chance. I'm appealing to the public. Give the new Culturama committee a chance. We might not do things the way you're accustomed to or what you're used to, but give us a chance to try certain things. And I think in the long run you will see it will be better in the long run for Nevis Culturama, because the goal, honestly, my goal, and I'm going to say this here tonight, my goal is not just for Swain Evelyn to look good. My goal is for the whole committee to look good, and my goal is for Nevis Culturama to be the best it can be. That's my main goal.
And that's a very good note to end this program. And Mr. Evelyn, I'm going to have you back here in sometime in June. By that time you'll have got...
I'll come with a bag.
You'll come with a bag with all the goodies next time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Folks, we have come to the end of another edition of our Government at Work program. Join us again next week when we shall do it all over again. Do enjoy the rest of the evening's programming and have a pleasant night's rest. Good night.